Boom, here we go. Here we go, man. We're finally getting to play. Oh. Yo ho, yo ho.
The dawn of capitalism, when corporations as mighty as nations rule the seas and dominate the world's valuable trade routes. With an iron fist, they forge a path of tyranny and exploitation, igniting a battle for global supremacy. From the Indian Ocean, a flood of exotic goods feed new addictions and fill coffers with coins tainted in blood. And where there is blood, there are predators.
So yeah, I hope you liked that little intro of Skull and Bones. We're finally getting to play it, and as you can see, I was quite optimistic going in there. I had my reserves and my doubts, definitely, given how long this game has taken to be created. But we haven't had a pirate game in that long. I wanted it to be good, but unfortunately I'm not sold. I'm not sold at all, just from the amount of time that I played today on release of the beta. We must have played this for about 5 hours or something, and by the end of it I just wanted to stop. Let's just crack into the points and see where we go from there. Point number one being, we come into the character creation. With games like this, you want to look good, you want to be a pirate, and more importantly, you just want more options than what they're giving us. Like, even in 10-year-old games like Final Fantasy Online or all the Souls games, you can make absolute monstrosities if you wanted to make them. This game just doesn't allow that, and after that being one of the first things that pushed at you, you'd think they'd want to sell it to you there and then, and they just haven't done that for me straight out of the gate. So let me know if you think I'm wrong or I am. Of course, I do understand that this is subject to change with it being a beta, and I don't want to upset anyone, but that's just the first kind of thing that I noticed that I weren't happy with anyway. So yeah, again, rocking on over to point number two now. Fluidity. The fluidity of it just isn't there for me. The main thing is what you'll notice, the first thing in this clip really, moving between islands and your ship. There's a transition effect. Feels like we've gone backwards almost, like 10-15 years. I can't quote when Black Flag came out, but in Black Flag I had more control, man. Like, I could unman my ship if I wanted to. I could jump in the friggin' water if I wanted to. Like, that was the beauty of it. I felt I had freedom to do that. Here, coming from my ship, I've got a transition black screen to go onto the island, and vice versa. Like, when I want to go back to my ship, it's a transition. I can't just go and swim up to my ship and get on it, or abandon my ship and then go and loot an island or climb on somebody else's ship. And I feel like that's a real disappointment for this, because the point with these games is that freedom to make it what you want, and that sandboxy sort of nature. And I feel like they've done us dirty with this one. So this is probably my biggest gripe with the game. There are some other points that we'll get into and we'll talk about, but that certainly is. I should have put it at number one, really. But no, like I say, fluidity is massive for me. Coming and going. I mean, these little cutscenes that you see as well, they're nice, but these little transition cutscenes, but it's not what I want. It's not what I want at all. So for that, it's definitely a talking point for me, and in my opinion, it's something what I'm going to bring up. It's something that I don't like anyway. But again, if you don't mind that sort of thing, I'm quite nitpicky. Maybe I'm being a bit nitpicky there, but they've had almost a decade, if not a decade, to work on this, so that's where I'm at with it. So my third issue with the game is, like, why the hell can I not have a sword? Why the hell can I not have a gun? I'm a goddamn pirate, man. Like, that's one of the things that we were looking forward to with this sort of thing. Being a pirate, being a thief, being a robber, going and just doing what you want on the high seas. The fact that they have simplified this game to just like naval combat, just combat on the seas, which, don't get me wrong, like, we're going to talk about that, and I think that's pretty good. Again, I think we've gone backwards in terms of what we had in other ship games, pirate games, naval fighting games, but I just don't see the thinking point of having no ground combat, having like no even hand to hand, you know what I mean? Just give me something on the ground as well, because then you've got all these little hub areas, all these islands where they're just pointless little hubs, really. You can even see the guys in this clip at the beginning of this clip, what I've clipped it on. They're fighting. These two NPCs are like fighting with swords. Granted, they play fighting, but there look to be some animation work done there. I know it's not for the player and it's only an NPC, but come on, man, like, that's something what should be a given in a pirate game. Given, I know I keep referencing Black Flag, but look how good the combat were in that game, and that's what we remember it for. I don't remember Black Flag for the story. I remember it for the awesome sea shanties, the awesome ship battles, and the awesome combat that we had in it. And the fact that they couldn't see that, and they haven't implemented even a basic form of that, I think it's a real letdown. It's a massive letdown for such an anticipated game. But hey, it is what it is, I suppose. I can't. I mean, we'll go over like an overview at the end of the video, but as you can see, I don't think it's going to be a particularly positive one. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could all see this point coming. This is a given for most Ubisoft games. I think everybody says it about them. Typical Ubisoft game. Go here, collect this, come back to me. Go here, kill this dude, come back to me. It's old. It's boring. I don't know how they're still like getting away with it as such. Like, I mean, it works in games like Far Cry, because Far Cry is they've nailed the combat in it. They've absolutely nailed it. It's fun. You don't really pay attention to what you're doing. It's kind of like that meme. I don't know why I'm here, but all I know is I must kill, or something like that. It's just awesome. But in this, you haven't even got that, which follows on perfectly from point number 3 about why this game is ultimately going to be a failure in my eyes. Having no ground combat follows this, leads this perfectly. It's just not going to work for me. I'm not happy doing it. I won't be spending my money on this game. I'm very surprised that they've put it into beta, but there's been a lot of controversy regarding the game and why it hasn't been made or didn't get cancelled. Sorry. So maybe we'll do a separate video on all that. But yeah, typical Ubisoft game, typical Ubisoft formula. But in this game, it just doesn't work. Again, I'll mention another Ubisoft game what it did work in. I loved The Division. It were awesome, but it's not going to cut it here. It's not going to cut it. So it's minus 10 points from me anyway. So yeah, this one's kind of a 50-50 really. This one will be a bit hard to really judge. Like, there's no one shoe fits all for this, but this is certainly my opinion on the ship combat. It ain't bad, it's not terrible, so, but it's very mediocre. Like I mentioned in one of the earlier points, it feels like we've gone backwards. I seem to remember, I could be wrong and please correct me if I am, but I seem to remember like the ship combats in Black Flag, in Sea of Thieves, every other pirate game, even Sid Meier's Pirates, on the Xbox, you could see the destruction of the ship happening. Why can't I see that here until like it's literally dead and then it blows up into smoke and flames? That's my biggest gripe with the combat. But don't get me wrong, I was sailing with a friend in this clip and you can see us bump into each other and whatnot, and it was fun. I did have a pretty okay time doing it. But that's probably the only positive thing I can say about the game. Well, no, there's a couple more. There are a couple more, and we will go over some bonus points as to why there's some good things about it, as you can see where they've directed their efforts. But it's just very mediocre. There were nothing to it, certainly from the parts I played. And like I say, I played between 5 and 10 hours now, and by the end of it, I didn't want to play anymore. It wasn't enough to drag me back in. It wasn't enough to make me want to do more and pillage and loot more ships. Yeah, really, really disappointing. But like I say, I won't say it's terrible. I won't say it's bad ship combat, because it's not. You can't really. There's just a couple of things what I'd expect a little bit more from, like the boarding. They've got an awesome boarding animation when you go to board it, but you do nothing. You just press R and let your crew board the enemy ship, and then it blows up into flames. And it's kind of back on to point number 3 with the no combat. It's such a letdown, such a disappointment for it. Look, I think you can see it in this clip. I tried to board that ship anyway, but it didn't work on this occasion, in fairness to it. But there is just an animation for it. You don't actually do anything. And there's also another animation when you sail up to the side of a damaged ship. You can get your crew to fire your muskets at it. But again, I'm just pressing R on my keyboard, man. There's nothing to it. It's not what I expected. It's not as good as I expected, but it's not as poor as it could have been, is the biggest takeaway from it. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing amazing. Nothing groundbreaking, nothing terrible, should I say, sorry. So yeah, a couple of talking points at the end, what I didn't think deserved their own section really, as to why you should contemplate buying it or not buying it. As you'll see on screen, I'll try and time it up right, but it felt very mobile gamey. Here, I go to refine some supplies, and there were a timer. And then, granted, I didn't get there were a timer till they were done refining as such, so I didn't get as far into the game as, well, I won't get any further because I'm not going to play it anymore. But I can see this being typical, like, Ubisoft. Like, I don't want to say that they're going to make you, like, you know, like on mobile games, you have to wait a timer for your supplies to be done, yada yada yada. I feel like these timers probably are going to get really long later in game when you're farming and refining these more exotic resources. So all I'm saying is I wouldn't be surprised if they put a paywall on this as such, like pay X amount of pounds, pay X amount of dollars to speed this up, like mobile games do. I found this mechanic, to be really weird. It just seemed oddly placed in a game like this. And granted, this probably didn't do it justice because these were done in seconds. But my thinking is, where does that lead late game? And I might be wrong. Again, this is why it's in the bonus points. It's just speculation there from me, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of paying mechanic, or they took an absolute age to complete some of them. Another bonus one. This is probably a more positive one as well, to be fair. It probably deserves something positive to be said about it, sorry. You do get some really nice cosmetics. You do get some really cool cosmetics, and I'll try and time it up again so you can see when I eventually went and got some pirate clothes. I feel like they've put some time into this. I feel like they've done a good job here with it, and the ones I bought anyway, I bought with silver, which is the in-game currency, like what you pillage, what you plunder, what you loot. There was another currency, some gold symboled currency, but I couldn't buy or use that. I don't know if it's because it was beta, or I wasn't this kingpin rank the game was talking about. I don't know if that's a paid for currency, which leads me on to the previous point. Is that paid for currency going to be used elsewhere, like the refining of materials, like purchasing the nicer cosmetics, and for a 70 quid game, 50 quid game, 70 quid special edition, I think that's really scummy if they do go that way. But again, speculation, that's not confirmed. I don't know that. That's just my feelings on it. Again, I could be wrong, but we'll see where it goes. There's a couple more what we'll go over.
Forever roll, yo ho, the winds forever.
So yeah, let's go. Let's end on like a positive point to it. Let's bring the mood up a little bit. A positive point regarding it. The sea shanties, man. I only got to listen to a few because there's no way to like actually activate it and make your crew sing them. But they made me smile. They made me smile. They made me laugh. And thank the Lord they still put these in. Imagine if, I mean, they had the crazy thought of not putting like combat in, like hand-to-hand combat, sword combat, shooting. They could have done us even worse by leaving out them wonderful sea shanties. So I mean, that's the, it's kind of a bit of a jokey point just to end the video, well, to end the main points on. But yeah, they are awesome. Listen to them. That's why I only started this voice clip after you could hear one of the sea shanties I heard, and it was awesome. It were awesome. So credit to them for that. Not leaving those out, but again, it's one of the, well, it's the best thing about the game. I thought genuinely the best thing about it. There's nothing what makes me want to go back, and that isn't enough to make somebody buy the game or want to play the game or sink hundreds of hours into the game. But they're nice. They are nice. So, the end of the video. Anyone who's still here, thanks for sticking around. First and foremost, make sure you like it. It helps small creators like me. With that out of the way, let's crack on to the overview. Should you buy it? Should you buy this game? Maybe. If you can get it on CD keys or you can get it for a discounted price, maybe like, if 20, 25 quid, you'd have fun running about with your mates. $20, $25, 20, 25 quid. Certainly not the full price. Certainly not. If we're talking 50 for standard and 70 for special edition. Absolutely not. I won't be paying that. I won't even be purchasing this game at all. So that should speak. Well, that gives you my opinion anyway of it. I wouldn't spend my own money on it, so I can't recommend any of you guys to spend your money on it. It's just not there. It's just not there, and this is what I highly expected. I really did expect it with this game, with all the controversy as we've mentioned. So, in a nutshell, no, don't. I don't recommend you buying it. But do I think you'd have fun if you had a group of friends of you all sailing around, shooting down ships, defending forts, fighting forts? Yeah, I do. I think you'd have fun. I think you'd have a good time. But the question for me is, would I get my money's worth? I usually work it out to, would I get £1 an hour out of the game? Would I get 50 to 70 hours out of this game? No, absolutely not. I played it for almost 10 hours today, and I didn't want to play anymore. So that's just that speaks volumes to me. I won't be purchasing it. Let me know if you do. Let me know in the comments if you disagree with anything I say. I might have been a bit harsh, but again, like I say, I'm open to criticism, definitely. Just a small YouTuber just wanting to put a few videos out there, and it seemed appropriate to put one out on Skull and Bones, given how much it's been highlighted over the last decade. So yeah, let me know. Smash that like button if you like the video. I really appreciate anybody who stuck around to the end. It's probably lasted a little longer than I wanted it to, but I had fun making it, and I hope you have fun watching it.